On the third day of testimony, defense attorneys got their first chance to present Christopher Hess's side of the story. Though jurors didn't hear from the former Dallas police officer himself, Hess is charged with aggravated assault for firing 12 rounds into a vehicle that was trying to flee and evade arrest in 2017. The driver, 21-year-old Genevive Dawes, was killed. On the stand Thursday, a defense expert, the lead detective from Dallas police who investigated the deadly shooting, Dale Richardson, told jurors why he believed Hess was reasonable in using deadly force.
I based that on the fact that the officers were there for several minutes before the actual shooting occurred, had identified themselves multiple times, used lights, given instructions to show their hands.
None of those instructions worked. Instead, multiple body camera video angles showed Dawes turn the car on, back into a DPD cruiser, try to drive through a fence, and then reverse a second time. Prosecutors have called Hess's actions totally unreasonable, saying he didn't need to shoot because no officer was behind the slow-moving vehicle. But the defense argued that Hess was locked in on that car, which had become a threat to officers.
He never looks to his left again. He would not have been able to know that those two officers had moved.
Jurors also heard from Hess's partner, Jason Kemple, who fired one shot of his own but wasn't indicted. With a variety of body camera angles and input from officers, the voice jurors have not heard from yet is Christopher Hess himself, which could come on Friday when testimony resumes. In Dallas, I'm David.